Hi, Mr. Linsky.
Hello.
So, we're going to ask you a couple questions regarding the 2018 governor and senator election in Wisconsin. Are you voting this year?
I am voting this year.
Okay.
Are you voting?
Yep.
Why?
I believe it's part of our civic duty, but I also feel pretty invested in the upcoming governor election.
If you're comfortable, who are you voting for?
For which candidate?
Governor.
Governor Scott Walker.
Nice. What about senator?
Leah Buchner.
Nice.
Who are you voting for?
In that election,
Yeah.
Tony Evers will have my vote.
What about the senator?
The senator election, for Senate, Tammy Baldwin.
Okay.
Okay. If the candidate you vote for wins, how will it affect you, your family, and friends?
So I don't look at it more so like how is it going to impact me. I think it's more so how is it going to impact the state. And so I think just looking at the opportunities that Scott Walker has presented to the state, it's hard not to like support the initiatives. He's a pretty conservative spender too. Doesn't really does try to watch out as far as how much he's spending. I think Foxconn, that deal had some really good positives. A couple of things that maybe I didn't agree with. I won't get into the details, but more so I think just job opportunity and like large scale job opportunities for people. And he was kind of one of the first people to initiate that, so I think that's a really big plus for the state of Wisconsin.
If the candidate you vote for wins, how would it affect you and your family and your friends?
Sure. I think the biggest way it would affect me is in my job. I think both candidates, but especially Tony Evers, are very pro-education. So I'd be curious to see how the education field has changed, how funding's changed, how the career of education has just changed overall.
Are there any reasons not to vote for the other candidate?
To me, no. I think that I kind of have to stick with what I know and what has worked in the past, and I just don't know if Tony Evers is connected to the state of Wisconsin necessarily. Not saying that he's not a proper candidate. I just think within the two, I would feel more comfortable with somebody who I know who's done a pretty good job. Is Scott Walker perfect? No. But no candidate is really perfect in my eyes because you can see both sides on everything. But I just don't know if Tony Evers has a good a pulse on like the state and what they need. He was a superintendent for the state, and I just don't know if that's going to translate well into governor. So
Reasons not to vote for either candidate.
I think just the education field or education issue is the biggest reason I would vote one way or the other, and I think Evers is very strong education with his background there. I don't think that Scott Walker's done a terrible job in education, just Evers would be better.
Tony Evers said that Walker's attack ad was disgusting and dishonest. What are your opinions on that?
I don't know. I think it might have been supported by Scott Walker. I don't know if it was his ad per se. Do you guys know? But I think political ads are always a tough one, just because they're meant to do something, like elicit an emotion. So I mean, Tony Evers is going to come out with something similar to what Walker came out with. It's a back and forth battle. I don't know the controversy that went behind the scenes as far as those teachers that were, misusing their power, conduct, or whatever. But I've seen the ad. Is it a little much? Kind of, but I've seen worse. I don't know.
Okay.
In 2008, there was an incident regarding a teacher in Middleton, Wisconsin, and inappropriate actions in the classroom. The teacher later went back to teaching in classrooms. Walker believes that Evers should have revoked the teacher's license. What do you think he should have done?
I believe there was something in place in which he wasn't able to without some type of government action, and that the law was then changed after that occurred, so that he might have been able to had it occurred in the future. So there's been some fake news around that as well.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the current Senate candidates?
For the most part, I do need to, before I go to the polls, do a little bit more, getting a little bit more information on Leah Vukmir, and maybe kind of being able to form an honest opinion. But right now, it's more so just party politics, as far as that goes.
Are you familiar with the current Senate candidates?
A little.
Then go up to the
What
top.
are your opinions?
I just know a little bit about Tammy Baldwin because she's run in the past and held that position for a while. But I don't know a ton of her main issues or the other issues that Vukmir's been raising.
Okay.